I'm resident of Callaway for YouTube, Joel Sains. That is my buddy Gordon Dymowski. We are here to review an episode of Macgyver from season 1, episode 7. It's The Last Stand. Jack Earl Haley is here as a henchman, as he should be. Uh, very young
And you forgot the ringleader is played by Judah Zachary himself.
himself. Yep. It's you were talking about this on Messenger, and I got to give you a lot of credit. But yeah, the way he talks, the way his voice is, you can tell why he did not voice Judah Zachary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very nasally. To paraphrase what Alan had said, it's a very nasally, very New York voice. Because I'd always wondered, like, why would you hire one guy to do the physicality and the other guy to do the voice? Because, like, if you look at King Curtis, he's, and especially at the time, he was bald, slim, with that
Mhm.
great voice. Like, he would have made a great Judah Zachary.
Mhm.
You don't even have to make him. And he could have played that role. But I think what probably happened was they go, okay, we need a guy who's willing to just kind of lube, you
Yeah.
know, or maybe, it may have been, and we'll probably never know. It probably may
Mhm.
have been something as simple as, okay, someone looks at his picture, says, hire him. They hire him his first day. He uses that voice, and it's like, yeah, let's get somebody else to dub him. He's not. And I think it would also make sense if, like, you've got the head and you've got somebody else speaking, because
Yeah.
that way you can do it a lot more effectively.
Do you think it? Now we don't know for certain, but do you think it could have been similar to the Darth Vader situation?
It might have been. I think it's actually precisely that because, like,
Yeah.
Dave Prowse, when he was in the armor, had that. He has a very northern England accent, and it just
Yeah.
comes out, and it it's jarring. But James Earl Jones could give it the gravitas and the evil and the malevolence. So
Yeah.
I think it's easy to say that Judah Zachary is the Darth Vader of Dark Shadows,
Yeah.
and that Michael McGuire, although he's good at the physicality of the role, yeah,
Yeah.
they did a smart move in hiring King Curtis. King
Yeah.
Curtis is the unsung hero of later Dark Shadows. Remember
Yeah.
that, kids. You will be
Yeah.
tested on this.
Yes, absolutely. And yeah, Michael is a good actor. I mean, make no mistake. We're not diminishing him.
Yeah,
But
yeah, but
some
it may just be that they heard his voice and it's like, yeah, we can't really work with that.
yeah, yeah. And that happens. I mean, that's not just him. Um with actors, it just okay, they hire a guy who looks okay, that guy looks good, hire him. But you hear a voice and it's like, no, we need to do something about that. Um, and they did. But he is here as the ringleader as of the henchmen at the airport, airstrip, if you will. And he's there sitting down as MacGyver comes in because MacGyver is a bit lost. He's a bit turned around. He's looking for Sparrow Lake. He's gone fishing. Uh, we touched upon this a bit before recording. This is not an episode where it's a mission for the Phoenix Foundation. He's just
Mhm.
out and about looking to go fishing, and he runs across some trouble here. What are
Right.
your thoughts on this, Gordon?
Um, those are my favorite MacGyver episodes. It's like, yeah, I know the first season he's more of like a guy, driving around in his station wagon. He's trying to sound like a little bit, like a hard boiled detective. Um, but it's what I. But I think the great thing about MacGyver is that you've got the Phoenix Foundation missions, and you've got the oh, Jack Dalton's in town. Oh, Penny Parker's in town. Oh, Murdoch's trying to kill him.
Yeah,
But I love the episodes where it's just MacGyver is just minding his own business,
yeah,
and he gets smack dab into trouble because that's those I think are the fun episodes. You know, um, and the great thing about MacGyver, and I mean this, and I told you this before the show. The great
yeah,
thing about MacGyver is after you watch it, after a while you'll forget it. But when you watch any episode, it's like I always go, yeah, I remember watching that episode, and I watch it again because it's just,
yeah,
I mean, this isn't, it's basically it's entertainment, and I think
yeah,
it's easy to look at shows like this where okay, yeah, it got very popular later on, and maybe
Yeah.
you've got a lot more lore. But not every, a lot of shows have very poor first seasons. I think this one where they're like about 90% there, and they just had to tweak
Yeah.
stuff. And maybe the second year was kind of like, yeah, let's give them a foundation or something to work for. Let's make them more like a secret agent, except not spy stuff. Especially since this was the early '80s, so that would have been a little questionable. But like MacGyver does good stuff for a nonprofit foundation. There you go.
All right. I'm going to ask you a question, and I'll be right back because my son's calling for me. But
Yeah, I'll keep the people occupied.
yeah, here's my question for you. What in from the first season to maybe like by the second season, what do you think was the biggest transition, you think?
I think the biggest transition was making MacGyver a little less of a cynical hero, or like trying to be in the first year, and making him a little bit more of a straightforward hero in season two. And you know, I think by the time, because this was early '80s, I think you kind of needed that. You needed someone who's a little bit more earnest and upstanding. And, like, um, here's something you didn't know about this episode, but in this episode, you learn how to make explosives out of fertilizer and starter fluid, which, you couldn't get away with. And I'm not saying this to make light of it, I, but it's, I think um, what probably happened is the second season, I'd need to watch it again. There'd be more kind of scientific stuff where it's less about explosives and more about like, okay, well, if we'll take this thing, we'll put this other thing, and we'll do all that. Like, he makes an acetylene torch out of a bike,
Yes.
which is
Yeah.
cool. Um, he rigs a remote control airplane, and I think that's maybe the greatest strength of the season, and maybe that's where the transition came. Is that in season one you don't know how quite exactly MacGyver knows how to do this stuff, and I
Yeah.
think the second season on they never do like the formal origin. He's just a guy who's very quick on his feet, who knows a lot of science and things. It kind of reminds me of MythBusters,
Yeah.
and there were shows where they would be putting together like explosives, but they know that they could never say like what the actual chemicals were because they didn't want kids doing it at home. So they'd say, well, in order to get this explosive effect, we mixed blur and blur.
Yeah.
Um, and I think too, it's it's I think the other thing is, this show to me, the show is like the Wild Wild West. To me, it's just pure escapist entertainment. I'm not watching it for deep themes or
Yeah.
I'm not looking at this from a literary standpoint, even though I
Yeah.
would argue there's a lot of literacy in both series.
Yep.
um, when you consider that, and MacGyver's a really unique show because looking at not just the cast, but one of the producers is Terry Nation, who worked in British television a long time. He wrote The Avengers, he wrote Doctor Who, he wrote a bunch of ATV action shows, which are basically just like this, only filmed in England.
Yeah.
One of the executive producers is Henry Winkler.
Yep.
Because, the Fonz treated him very, very well. Um, I'd see. And I mean, this is what's interesting is I know you cited like Jackie Earl Haley, but this was a time where, and it's what a lot of actors tend to do after they have, we see like the result. Like he played Freddy Krueger. In the past 10 years, he played Freddy Krueger in Rorschach and Watchmen. But he actually started in the Bad News Bears in the '70s, and that's where a lot of it. Shows like this kept actors moving forward. It's you know, um, I know Joel has talked about, well, why did Joel? You've talked about, well, why didn't any Dark Shadows Dark Shadows actors stay employed or become big stars? Well, a lot of them. This is how you pay the work, and I also want to thank all of you watching for being patient because a lot of these you're used to me going on and on or Patrick going on, Alan's cool. Love Alan dearly. He's a good friend. But yeah, I really appreciate your patience because you could have easily gone, oh, okay, well, those terror at Collinwood podcasts aren't going to watch themselves. So I want to thank you for indulging us. But yeah, I was explaining to the nice people watching that for a lot of actors, including Dark Shadows actors, this is how they make a living because that's what you do as an actor. You take on roles.
Yeah. That's the thing too. It's not the there's a lot of actors that take on roles for MacGyver. I mean, Michael DeBar. I mean, he was a musician. He takes on the role of Murdoch.
My God, Michael DeBar is maybe one of the most underrated, like, bad guy actors.
Yep.
He's and I say this. It may sound like I'm insulting him, but I'm not. If you couldn't get Adam Ant for that kind of decadent rock star role, because Adam Ant did a little bit of acting in the 80s, you called Michael DeBar. And DeBar is, I love him as he is a great Murdoch. Now, this is not a Murdoch episode. I think he shows up in season 2. Not sure. It's on Tubi. Go watch MacGyver. And in fact, if you in our behind the scenes conversation, Patrick has always mentioned we should talk about, shows that have a really exceptional first season. Now, I don't think any are, but I'm going to challenge Patrick. If you're watching, I'm challenging you. There's one show you can see watching Insider's first season on YouTube. I think you can watch all of it. It's called Leverage. Go to Electric Now, look under playlists, Leverage season 1, watch all of it. Episodes 1 through 13. It's about, each is about an hour long. So it's like episodes 1 through 26 of Dark Shadows. And if you can watch that, Jules watched that, you can watch anything. So, and we'll plan a very special these Collinsport boys, unless Jewel wants to dedicate the main podcast to conversation 1 week. That's the challenge. Alan, we don't have to worry about you. You're cool, because I know you'll do it in your spare time. But yeah, there's your series, Patrick. Leverage. Go watch it. Then we'll talk. It's heisty. It's crime. It's going after bad guys. It's it's written, but it's showrun by the same guy who wrote the Catwoman movie.
Yeah.
and John Rogers, I think, is a brilliant showrunner. Because this is a guy who goes on podcasts and actually brags that he wrote the Catwoman movie. But what happened was he was fired off. Well, he was fired off of it, but he sued to keep his name. He filed. I think he filed with the Writers Guild to keep his name on the script, because that way, I think it was more for to make sure he cemented that, hey, look, this is something I actually worked on. And the fact is, it's there were so many changes. He turned a bad script into a workable script, then was fired, and they turned a workable script into a bad script. And if I knew where the Catwoman movie was streaming, I would encourage. We'd screen that, but there's not. Oh, Patrick, another good first season solid, Elementary. I don't know if it's streaming for free anywhere. It might be on demand on Pluto TV. Don't quote me on that. There's 2. But MacGyver, I think is pretty much, it's another solid first season. It's not quite the MacGyver we remember, but again, it's 95% there. And this episode is, it's a pretty solid episode, because it's literally after the heist, it's half post heist base under siege. And the fact that it's a contained area. I mean, if you're looking for an episode that has a scene involving a helicopter and an airplane, where MacGyver jumps up and starts messing with the rudder in order to get the plane spinning around so they don't take off, if that doesn't excite you folks, I don't know what will. It's on Tubi. You can go watch MacGyver anything you want for free. Okay, there are commercials, but ad blocker on your browser, free. Can't beat that price.
Yeah, and you're right, he makes a homemade thermite
Oh, looks like
torch.
Jules not here. Let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see. What hot takes could I deliver while Jules absent?
Uh, yeah,
Now, he may have just turned off his camera, but
he
let me
makes a
see.
homemade
Okay, hot takes. Hmm.
yeah, he
Okay, well, for those of you who've been commenting on our those Colin Boys episodes, thank you. Like, we love doing these with Jewel. We like to throw it a little extra for you, but
you can't
thank you
hear
for your
me.
comments. Please like, share, subscribe. Tell your friends about it. Say, hey, look, here's Joel. He's a great Dark Shadows guy. He knows wrestling. He knows horror. Bring him on in.
Yeah.
Maybe figure out. Maybe send him like some goodies. Send him like some brownies or something. So, see, this is the one thing you should never do. You should never put me in front of a camera alone because I will play to the camera.
Uh,
Um, I wish there was an audience here because that way I'd have you ask questions about me,
no.
as well as questions about, like, say, working with Patrick, working with Alan, about Dark Shadows.
Sorry.
So, oh, good, Jules back, so you don't have to worry
Keep,
about me pontificating.
keep,
I was just about to go into a
sorry.
tirade about how I really think Burke Devlin should have never been killed off, and that they should have just kept going on and on with him, Joel.
Yeah.
But you spoiled it.
Yeah.
The moment's gone.
I really like how Macgyver in this episode makes a homemade
I
thermite
think you're on mute,
torch.
Joel.
No, I'm not. My microphone's not working. I don't know what's going on.
Seriously, I was really hoping he would speak because. So let's see. Dark Shadows hot takes. Okay, here's my hot take. I think there's actually a human being out there who thinks Dark Shadows jumped the shark when Barnabas Collins was introduced. They watched episode 210 like, oh God, I'm never watching this again. And then during the 60s, it's like, hey, you should watch it.
Can you
There's
hear
all
me?
those. No, sorry, I'm not in for it. I was in for it for the bleeder valves and the lost pens, but not the vampire.
Can you hear me?
Still can't hear you, Joel.
Oh shit.
And no, I'm not messing with him. I seriously cannot hear him. And I appreciate your patience.
Sorry.
Okay. So, but again, Macgyver, episode 1, season 7. Episode 1, season 1, episode 7. Yeah. Not too much coffee this morning, I'll tell you that. But I tell you, last night, plus I had a fun time last night. I went to see a friend perform. She was wonderful, played guitar and piano. She had a colleague of hers play a rone, which is a Chinese guitar. And so, wonderful. I'm sure they'll be had a great time. I skipped out early because I skipped out at the end because it was kind of late and I wanted to get home. And
Can you
right
hear
now,
me?
if Patrick were here, he'd probably be making some kind of like comment about, oh, hey, us being alone, but you're stuck with me. And I know it's hard because I'm usually the least vocal of the three. So I beg your indulgence. Again, like, share, subscribe. If you have questions, drop them in. I'll answer them. I can, ask me anything. You can ask me about how long I've known Patrick. Ask me about like Linux distributions. You can ask me about Doctor Who. You can ask me about like, well, not too many personal questions, but you can ask me about like compression socks. And don't tease Joel too hard about technical issues. mean, I couldn't use a headset with this podcast because yesterday, the laptop that I usually do this podcast on, the little charger, there's a little metal bit. I'm going to show it right here. This little metal bit was still stuck in the computer when I removed the charger. And the charger is only about 60%. So if I tried to use it for work or anything else, I wouldn't be able to do this. So I had taken a newer Dell from one of my offices, had moved. We're moving offices, and it was part of their e-waste. So luckily, I was able to install Windows 11, get some stuff up and running. And it turns out using StreamYard won't let me use my headset. So yeah, you're getting me. So hey, Joel, can you say something? Oh,
can you hear
still
me?
Can't hear you, Joel.
No, shit.
Let's. Man, I really wish I were being mean to him. So, hey, Joel, if you're there,
I'm here. I'm.
do you want to give up to? Let me know in the chat if you want to end now, or do we want to keep going?
Hold on. Shit.
Yeah, folks, really sorry about this. So,
Yeah.
but you know what? Jewel is a consummate professional. You should send him cookies. Send him nice things. Send him your unmarked bills because he's actually working on a he's actually trying to build a thriving money laundering business. So it would really help. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Still cannot hear you, Joel.
Shit.
What would be really funny is if this goes live and it turns out he is saying things and I just can't hear him. But yeah, I'm really sorry about this, Joel. Actually, it makes me kind of glad Patrick's not here because I think it'd be frustrating for Patrick or even Alan because it's so. But no, Patrick, Alan, wonderful human beings. We're all wonderful human beings in Dark Shadows, So, Jewel, okay, Jewel, do we want to end or?
Yeah, end.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to thank Jewel and I would like to thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe. Jewel will have Patrick's daybook. He'll have my website. He'll have Alan's website. Maybe he'll have a link to some inappropriate sea shanties about Jonathan Frid. You never know. Maybe he'll post a link to some random YouTube video. I hear that Jules into the MX Linux. He might go crazy, but from Jewel and I, even though he can't say it much, we really want to thank you for your support, and we will see you in the next one.
Bye,
Take care, all.
Bye.